So better or worse than Tinder? Neutral.
Oh gosh.
It's kind of weird because I hated dating. I did not go on a lot of dates. I hated having to like be entertaining to someone and like, no, I'm really cool, I promise. Like, let me.
What are pieces of our culture that you think we could work on?
There's this kind of expectation to be kind of perfect in a way, or to at least appear perfect.
I think our culture makes their experience harder than it needs to be. And I wish we could change that so that they feel just as comfortable. Like, hey, I haven't been here for 3 months, but I'm just as comfortable showing up.
So it's like, I'm so grateful that you're here because it's so rare to see someone who is kind of, lukewarm, that's still fully participating and self-identifies as a member of the church.
Welcome to the Holy Rebellion. Welcome back to the Holy Rebellion. We're going to do something fun today. We're going to do 10 in 10, which is 10 questions in 10 minutes, except I didn't count how many questions we have, and I don't have a timer, so we're just going to see where it goes. I have a guest host today with me,
Cameron King.
and then we have Lauren and Meg, whom you all know and love. You guys ready to play?
Let's play.
Okay. Round one. Do singles words work or not?
Yes and no.
Oh. Nuance, huh?
So, I met my husband because he visited my ward and not his own. So it's like, yes, they work, but not yours. You have to
You
go to
gotta go to
somebody
somebody else's.
else's. That's
Yeah.
where your wife or husband is. Somewhere else.
I think they work. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
meet my husband in a singles ward either, but I think that what are the other option is there? I wouldn't want to go to the family ward if I was single.
It'd be kind of weird.
Yeah. I feel like most of my dates were because I was in a singles ward and I met people through the ward.
Okay, well, good. So they work different. You have to go to a different ward.
Yeah, it was kind of a whole thing. Like we were in the same stake, and so he went to the state conference in the I Center at BYUI, and he sat right behind me.
Was that on purpose?
I don't know. And here's the thing: we were supposed to go on a date in October, like several months before, and then it like didn't work out and stuff. And then I always say that God did this because he kept popping up on my Facebook, like, "Oh, people you may know." And that I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's this guy. Who is this? Who is this man?" And then he came into state conference. And I turned to my roommate. I was like, "I know that guy. I was supposed to go on a date with him." And then he sat right behind me, and I was just trying to sit and not look at him because I didn't want him to recognize me. And then he's like, "Hey, I really like your hair and whatever."
The ultimate pickup line.
And then he went to my ward's Linger Longer, and he sat in front of me this time. I was like, "Who is this guy? He
Can't get away
keeps
from
following
him."
me around." And then I kind of telephoned down where I said, "Oh, I know him," to, "Hey, she thinks you're really hot." So the rest is history.
Do you remember that? This was an old meme from, it was probably Saturday Night Live, but the guy's like in the movie theater and he's like, "Girl, the back of your head is ridiculous." that was your love story. Okay. All right. Well, good. So better or worse than Tinder? Mutual.
Oh gosh. Honestly, I'm not the person for these questions because I've been out of the dating scene for like
It's been a long time, huh?
like 7, 8 years. And I think it's so different now than it used to be. I don't even think they're dating actually.
Just in the last 7 years, it's changed that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that sounds like recent history to me.
Were you on the apps?
I was on Mutual, but it's kind of weird because I hated dating. I did not go on a lot of dates. I hated having to like be entertaining to someone and like, no, I'm really cool, I promise. Like, let me. But I don't know. I would get Mutual because it was kind of fun to see who liked you or whatever. So it's kind of like a game. But I did know my husband kind of through Mutual because I had downloaded the app saying, "Oh, I need a date for
He's
this
everywhere.
thing." Yes.
And
he was
you
the
couldn't
first
get
one.
away from
Behind you,
He
him.
was the
in
first
front
one
of
that
you.
matched with me. I was like, "Okay, let's go." And then it didn't work out. And then he showed up again and again and again on Facebook. And then again at a conference. And I was like, all right, it's a sign. We're supposed to be together. So
That's amazing. Does anybody really go to their own ward in singles wards?
I did.
You did?
too.
You were both
Really?
faithful members.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, build your ward. Go build your ward and you'll find other builders.
Little lift where you stand action. All right. How about a worst date? What does that look like?
Oh boy.
You got a few of those?
Oh no, I'm anticipating.
I really don't have a ton. I feel like they all blur
They were all
together.
so
They all
good.
blur. No, I feel like they all blur together as like they were all bad until my husband, but that's not true. I was thinking of a funny story though that isn't my worst date that I could share.
Lay
instead.
it on us.
So when I got to BYU my freshman year, I just moved out there, got my freedom. I'm in my dorm. I get called the first week I'm there. I've been there for like 4 days to be the Relief Society president. And the bishop hands me a binder of everybody's face and where they live and what their address is, like where they live and their phone number. So my roommate and I'm like, I've been at BYU for like 5 days. We start going through the binder and finding the cutest guys.
This was pre-Tinder.
This
You were
is not
swiping.
Tinder. Exactly. And we went and invited the cutest apartment to go get ice cream with us
So good.
because we were just new and so excited to date at BYU.
Did it work?
Yeah, they totally went and got ice cream with us. We got like a whole group together, and it was the cutest people in the ward.
That's great. Bishops pay attention. That's like they should still do that.
You want to get them married?
It was the blessing of getting the calling, getting to know every face in the ward.
Thank you.
Do you have any bad date stories?
Are they all good? They were all so good.
No, but it's also like I didn't date that much, so I only have.
You didn't need to, right? You didn't need to date that
I
much.
just didn't like it. It was like the worst.
Yeah.
The one that comes to mind, I guess it's the worst. I discovered up there that I was lactose intolerant.
On the date?
Guy, that kind of put the nail in the coffin.
Oh,
Yes, I
okay.
for sure am. Is he took me to this ice cream place and ate it, and then about 20 minutes later, I started to feel uncomfortable, and then he kind of put me like we were in his car, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta show you this song." 3
You stayed for 3 hours?
Music.
hours. And he was showing me this like screamo rock music. I'm not even exaggerating. I was feeling every minute of those 3 hours the whole time. Luckily, it was loud, so you can't like hear anything. But that was torture. But then I'll see videos online of girls talking about going out with the sales bros or whatever, and they do the POV. I'm like, well, that's a nightmare.
I don't know what that
I
is.
don't
I don't
know.
know what you're talking about.
Granted, I don't know. They're out there. I don't know. It's about the BYU girls that will do the POV like, oh, you go out with a sales bro who just got back from his mission and stuff. And I think they're joking, but I don't
I
know.
But they
Oh,
might
they
not
are.
be. They might not be.
I don't know.
Next question. What is the most aggressively Utah thing you've ever seen?
Oh, there was this TikTok going around. I don't even know if it was real or if it was staged, but this girl is like showing the beautiful Christmas lights where they're at, and her date says like, maybe we should bear our testimonies to each other. Did you guys see that video?
No.
Oh
but now I
my
want to.
gosh. That's the most Utah thing. And she's like, yeah, sure. And she puts her phone away. And I think that's pretty aggressively Utah.
That's aggressive. Yeah.
I didn't spend much time in Utah. I was in Utah Junior. I was in Rexburg.
It counts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same thing. And there's one of the 5 dates that I went on, I guess, up there. This guy, he went out once, and then we kind of went out a couple times throughout the next week, and then a week later, he's talking about like, oh, I think we should get married and blah blah blah. We didn't, obviously.
Clearly, yeah.
But I thought that was a lie. I thought people were joking whenever like, oh, maybe just get married really quickly and stuff. He wanted
He
it.
meant it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's aggressive. That's great.
At least he didn't introduce personal revelation into it.
No. Oh, we're supposed
Oh.
to be together. That drives
I
me
mean,
up.
I
like
had
hell.
that. I had one of those actually.
Is
Yeah,
that
it was from my mission. No. It was a convert from my mission. not I didn't convert him, but someone and the elders converted him. And yeah, he told me that he had been inspired and that I was the one.
Wow. And that's where the blonde apologist, you're like, I'm very sorry. I am not the one.
No, yeah, I'm not the one. I was not.
So I don't know if this is a Utah thing, but I think it's a Wyoming thing embedded in Utah. So my 2-year-old discovered that he can pee outside, and now he loves it. He just loves it. And so just anywhere we're at, in my garage, we get out of the car and he'll just drop his pants in, which is so frustrating. But
Grass or dirt? That's what you gotta tell him.
Yeah, grass.
that's a good. I've been trying to help him with the distinction. He just anywhere that's not inside. He feels like it's free game on my deck, anywhere. So I was in my office, which has a window to the front porch, and we're on a fairly busy road after that. And I look out the window and I see him on the porch, totally naked. I don't know where any of his clothes went, totally naked. And so I go out there to go get him. And as I go get him, he's standing on the end of the porch peeing, which is where the Wyoming thing comes in.
That's what you do.
That's what you do. Yeah. No bathrooms in Wyoming.
Yeah, you probably didn't know that.
Yeah, 0 bathrooms in Wyoming, so you just kind of do what you do. But he's standing on the edge, naked, peeing, and then we live right next to Maple Mountain High School. The entire girl and boys track team runs straight like 10 feet from him, and they're all every single one is just giggling, laughing at my 2-year-old. It was very funny, and I felt bad for them as well. But it was a very Wyoming in Utah thing. So, yeah. What is something beautiful about the culture in our church? She's passing.
I think our community is so beautiful. Like when I had my daughter, when I had my second, I was blown away by how many people like checked in, visited me, helped me. And they don't have to do that, but it totally is just in us to take care of our neighbor, to love your neighbor, to make sure they're good and doing okay. And I love that about our culture.
And that's kind of standard.
For sure.
Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah, I was thinking something similar is that, I moved around a lot in the past couple of years, and it doesn't really matter where, like what ward I go to. That feeling of, I know when I walk in the door that I'm important there, like I matter, that we're all children of God and we're all working together to build the kingdom of Zion together as a community. Just the way that they rally support around each other. If someone's sick or someone needs something or if someone's moving or something, and people would just drop stuff and go help. My father-in-law even, there's this one member who will call him up like, hey, I need a pillow, or hey, I need a hamburger or something. And he's like, oh, I'm going to go to Walmart. I'm going to go get him something. And he has no problem with that. And it's just beautiful to see it all, the Christ-like love that just pours out of the members of this church. And it's something I've always appreciated and always gone back to. And I have visited other churches before, and I've never felt that spirit whenever I go. So
yeah, that's really sweet.
That is beautiful. One recent example, I think of that specifically, there was the shooting in Michigan, but what happened afterwards, the saints raising money for the family of the shooter, is just one of the most beautiful, inspiring things. Right. I think is a testament to our people really trying to follow Jesus.
I agree.
Yeah. All right.
Well, what do you love? What's something that you love about our culture?
I spoke in church yesterday, and there's this lady in the ward who made it her duty to bake bread and bring it to anyone who ever speaks in church.
Oh.
And she just decided, I'm going to do this. And so every single Sunday she bakes bread for everybody who speaks and takes some bread.
That's sweet.
Which is just sweet. I think it comes back to that principle, love your neighbor. I think we really try to practice that, and it's evident in so many ways. But to me, it was beautiful. And she brought it up. She dropped it off this morning, actually, right before I came here. She just rang the doorbell. There's bread. And my 7-year-old daughter's like, oh, can I have some? It's like, yeah. She pulls out this loaf of bread and just, I was like, wait, you animal? This is a loaf of bread. Cut it. Yeah, but I really enjoyed that.
That's really sweet.
Do you have one?
So many. I love so many things about our culture. Our family spent a good part of the last couple of years overseas, and some of the sweetest experiences are going to a new ward or a new branch, and both the members, how they just come and surround our kids instantly. And like our kids will go to the young men and young women activities or the primary activities, and the missionaries will show up and take them on the bus or whatever, on the metro. And like, that's a really sweet thing. And then seeing missionaries all over the world, like, it's just the greatest thing ever. It's like our favorite family tradition when we travel is to go take a picture of our family with the missionaries that we find just in Cambridge or in Vienna or Budapest or wherever, because they're all the same, like the light in their eyes and just like this love of what they're doing and where they are. It's just a really beautiful thing. So yeah, those are just two of the things that come to mind, but I think there's hundreds, both of what you've said. The bread, I haven't had that experience though. I did after my mission when I was giving traveling with the High Council. I had a sweet young sister in high school that after I spoke, handed me a note. And it just said, "Thank you so much for speaking. We really appreciate you," or something like that. And it was like the cutest thing ever to have this little 14-year-old give me that note.
What 14-year-old does that?
Just our 14-year-olds,
Yeah.
right? Like,
The other thing, it's like what 18, 19-year-old is willing to go to a different country in a language they don't know and talk about Jesus? I just think the missionary culture is the coolest thing.
incredible.
And then, did you guys serve missions?
I didn't.
Okay, where did you go?
Vancouver, Canada.
Canada. Wow. Did they just take care of you up there?
Yeah, they were great. I loved it so much.
I had the same experience everywhere I went. No matter how poor, how destitute, the members take care of the missionaries. I just think it just makes it feel like a global community, that like we send our sons and daughters and they see us as their sons and daughters.
So true.
It's beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so on the flip side of that coin, what are pieces of our culture that you think we could work on?
I feel like something I've kind of witnessed a couple times, especially online and, people I've talked to, that there's this kind of expectation to be kind of perfect in a way, or to at least appear perfect. You have the perfect family, you have the perfect marriage, you bounce back the best after having a baby or something to appear like you have it all together. That kind of detracts from the gospel, which is like bringing imperfect people, becoming perfect through Christ, not these, sort of worldly expectations of what we look like, but who we are as children of God. So it's something that I've noticed a couple times, is just people feeling like they're not good enough in comparing themselves to each other. I felt that way. Like we all can kind of feel that way. But that's not how Christ sees us. So just remember to go back to that. So
Yeah, thank you. I love that.
Kind of along the lines of that, I wish we didn't have like an all or nothing mentality. I wish we were more like Jews, where like if they leave the Judaism faith, or they don't, like, if they're not super traditional, or they still consider themselves Jews. Like, I wish that if you're gonna drink coffee, or you're not gonna be a temple recommend holding member, like, you still like want the association and consider yourself Mormon. But I feel like in our faith, our culture, people are like, I'm all in or I'm all out. And I think that you lose a lot of like the goodness if you don't have to be all or nothing. And I understand, like, of course, like, we teach the value of doing your best and striving for your best. But I think some people would benefit from just being the culture just opening a little bit with less judgment, so that people consider themselves Mormon, even if they struggle with certain things and don't align with some things.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah.
I see it. Yeah. It's one of the things that I feel, well, to your point, I feel inspired when I meet someone who is like not necessarily living their covenants, let's say, but is still attending church, that is still participating in church and in the activities of our culture. Yeah, I don't know if I should feel inspired by that, but it's also just like, I'm so grateful that you're here, because it's so rare to see someone who is kind of, lukewarm, that's still fully participating and self-identifies as a member of the church.
And I think our culture makes their experience harder than it needs to be.
Yeah.
And I wish we could change that, so that they feel just as comfortable, like, hey, I haven't been here for 3 months, but I'm just as comfortable showing up.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be labeled as inactive or active. I think that's hard.
Yeah, that is hard.
Yeah, like we put labels on them, like, you're a Jack Mormon, you're
I'm all
a
Mormon.
Nolly, whatever. And
Peter
it's like, no,
priesthood.
you're a child of God. You're a member. You
Yeah.
deserve all the love and respect that everybody else gets. So,
How do we fix that?
I think talking about it is one of the ways.
Yeah.
I loved Sister Annette Dennis's talk at General Conference because she kind of talks straight on about this. Yeah, it's funny, like even this past Sunday, one of our good friends, he hasn't been to church, his wife doesn't come to church, but he came and he sat by us yesterday, and I thought of her talk because she talked about how it can be really hard for some people to show up in that space. And I'm like, I hope that he doesn't feel like anyone is judging him, because we're not. And I feel like most people do, and it's just a matter of, I don't know, not talking about him in ward council in a way that is demeaning, and just, I don't know, seeing us as a community, even with the people who are out of the church versus the people that are in the church. But I don't know how to fix it. It's a big thing to fix.
I think truly learning about the atonement of Christ and what that really entails and what that means. Even for me, when I was kind of lukewarm, I was a little bit inactive. I was kind of not really sure what I believed. It wasn't that anybody told me that I was, less than. I felt that way. And learning about Christ and the atonement and what that really entailed, like it's not just about forgiveness, it's about strength. And it's something I really held on to. And seeing that and applying it to other members who, it's not my place to judge somebody who sins differently than me. I'm not perfect. I do things all the time that I probably shouldn't be doing. And my job is just to love them. That's what we're called to do. And learning about the atonement and really how to see other people as just children of God really helps with that. I feel like people know about the atonement and forgiveness of sins, but it's so much more than that. And it's so important to our gospel and the church that I feel like we need to apply that more to other people. So,
Yeah, I love what you're saying. And I just wanted to add, because I feel like spot on with what you're saying, the more you learn about Christ, like the more natural it is to reflect his love. And I just feel like we can, if we focus on that and his gospel, then it comes more naturally. And the judgmental people kind of become less of the norm. And I think we're totally there. I think we just got to keep working on it.
More of a focus on Jesus. I'm always a fan of that. I always find that interesting because I believe you guys, but I've never experienced that. So even when I was out of the church for a time and came back, maybe it was just my ward, I don't know, but they were always just so welcoming and kind and accepting. And maybe I'm just naive, or it all went over my head. I don't know. I just missed that whole experience, but it was always positive from my ward.
yeah, I really think it was just me. Like it came from, the adversary telling me I'm not good enough. You're not good enough. You shouldn't do that. You're not supposed to be there. You don't belong. When really that's not what the church teaches. That's not what the members were showing me. It was really me just kind of projecting that onto everybody else. And so when I say learn about because I know that most members, I feel, don't judge other people. At least in my experience, they haven't. I know there are some out there. There's always going to be some. But the atonement's for everybody. So it was for me just as much as it is for everybody else. I saw something recently where it was talking about, are you just religious or are you a follower of Christ? And I was thinking about that. I was like, well, yes, I'm religious, but do I exemplify what that means to be a follower of Christ? Am I, loving as he would? Am I understanding as he would? As I, and everything. That's really changed my perspective on everything, where that's our main focus in the church is to follow Christ. So just kind of, but you're right. I mean, it's not, I feel, as big as people make it out to be. I feel like it's really individual. And for, me, I already struggled with, self-worth and stuff from my childhood and everything. But I don't know. I just think it can be helped through learning about Christ truly. So
Yeah, I think one illustration of that is the Garden of Eden, where we kind of see that, where they partake of the fruit, and then the serpent says, "Quick, hide," and then they make fig leaves to cover their nakedness. And I always found that so interesting. It's like, I'm like, why do they care too? Why fig leaves? And what it's symbolic, and the symbolic part of that is they're trying to take care of the issue themselves. They're trying to cover what they did. And what's so beautiful about that is that Jesus says, "Hey, actually, I'm gonna cover you," and then he makes coats of skin for them. And he just said, "Hey, just take this, and I will cover you with that." And he gives them, and the word atonement means to cover. And I don't think that's coincidental. He literally says, "Take my atonement, put it on you, and I'm going to cover what you did. I got you." And then symbolically, we put those on every morning as garments. So I think we could definitely be less judgmental, I think, but also if we stop trying to fix it ourselves and just receive the gifts that Jesus offers, it might put ourselves in a better position.
Yeah, I love that. I think something that we can do individually that would affect the culture is it's the sin of, pride, right? Is a sin of comparison. Divine success from the parable of the talents in Matthew 25, divine success as defined in that parable is really one of personal growth rather than comparison, right? Because they were given talents according to their several ability, right? It was according to their individual abilities and their experiences and gifts and talents. And I think it's really easy to fall into that comparison, right? Especially now, especially with social media. It's so tricky, right? But if we can kind of step back and say, but this isn't about me and this person or me and the world, it's about me and Christ, right? And what does my personal growth trajectory look like, regardless, independent of anybody else's? I think if our focus is there, then it's easier for us to do the things we know we should do, right? And it increases that desire to do those things, to live righteously, to keep our covenant, stay on the path.
Yeah. Well, that was good. Thanks, guys. Last question for you. When has Jesus been most real for you?
I know you asked me to look at these questions beforehand, and I totally did.
No, that's a big one, though. Or a time when
Yeah.
Jesus was real for you.
I can go first if you want some time.
Go for it.
For me, it's always been in this kind of quiet, personal moments where my I guess my kind of burning in the bosom moment that I've had. It was when I was still in school and Texas had just frozen over and I was visiting home. And so I got stuck there. And so I was a week behind in all my assignments and it was midterms. And so I knew when I got back, I was going to be just bombarded with all this work I had to get done. And I'm already kind of prone to stress. And so I felt like I was just drowning in all this stuff that I had to do that I'm not smart enough to do this. I don't know how to do what I was required to do for this class. And I had to do something from one of my religion classes. And we were supposed to write 10 pages about all the scriptures that we
That's a
had
lot
been
of
going
pages.
over.
10.
Yeah, it was a lot. And I was reading about I was still crying and I was reading my scriptures about the account of the first vision. And it was something I never really thought about before. I was like, oh yeah, that's true. Sure. Yeah. But I didn't really look into it. And so I was reading about it and I just felt this like this peace that I was going to be okay, that it was fine, that it was true, that this happened and that, Christ is real, God is real, that the restoration is true, that no matter what's going on right now, that I felt all this peace, which doesn't make sense. There was so much going on. I had every right to be stressed out. And it was in that moment where I was just alone in my room where I felt that I truly wasn't, and that I didn't have to do it by myself, that even if there was nobody around, that Jesus was always there for me. So I just kind of held on to that. So no matter what I do, like what I'm posting or whatever, I'm struggling with something, I know that it's going to be okay. That there's a quote, I don't know who said it. Like, if it's not, it's all going to be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. And I apply that a lot. And so I always remember how Christ is always there for me. And every single time that I've been worried or stressed, I just have to remember it's going to be fine, that it's all going to work out the way it's supposed to. So
That's really sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And it made me think of, I do feel like the reality of my Savior in my life is evident when he enables me beyond my abilities. And I feel that not every time I partake of the sacrament, but I feel the reality of that most often on Sunday when I come with all my feelings of what I'm burdened by my sins, or what I'm overwhelmed with and my anxieties. And I feel that Heavenly Father and Jesus literally can enable me through partaking of that sacrament, and I recommit to them and they recommit to me. And I learned that on my mission. I learned of the reality because as a missionary, Sundays were my hardest days. I had to be the most on and the most just engaged on Sundays. And as a missionary, I was just so exhausted all the time. And I would get to Sunday and I would just look forward to the sacrament so much because I knew that it was real. I knew that I was going to be enabled and better after renewing my covenants with him. And I'm so glad I learned that, because now I need it just as much as I needed it as a missionary, as a mother in my life every single week. And I feel the call to have my podcast and be a mom, and doing both is a lot. And I make mistakes all the time. And sometimes I feel like I come on Sunday like almost just guilty of how I've fallen short of what I thought God expected of me. And then I partake of the sacrament and I feel this renewal to be like, we're starting over, Lauren. This is a new beginning for you. And it's a real feeling where I feel burdens lifted and I feel refreshed. And that's what I feel like happens not every Sunday, but a lot of Sundays for me.
That's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
How about you?
Yeah, I was thinking, Cameron and I went to a conference a couple months ago, and Brandon Mull came. You guys know Brandon? So he wrote Fablehaven, which is so good. Okay, his talk, it changed the way I see some scriptures, and so it's his story to tell, but he had a really rough go for a while with family, work, marriage, and he just said that he was heartbroken, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and he was trying to do all the things he knew he should do to get better, and he just got to the point where he was in the temple and he said something like, I just can't do this anymore. I can't continue forward. And as he enters the celestial room in the temple, he said that heartache was just removed from him. It was just lifted and it never came back. And I didn't know that was possible. Like I know that the power of Jesus Christ is real. I didn't know that it could work like that. And then when I read about Joseph Smith in Liberty Jail, suffering himself and the saints, and he says, oh God, where art thou? And he says, my son, peace be unto thy soul. And the Son of Man hath descended below all things. And I didn't get what that meant, but I think what it means is that he literally felt the lowest that any of us could feel, so that when we feel that way, he literally has the power to just take it away. It's gone. And I don't think that happens a lot. I think that we are allowed to suffer for our good, for our experience. But there comes a moment in time when Jesus can literally just take it, which is so hopeful to me, because there are horrors on earth. There are absolutely horrific things that happen, like to children, to the innocent. And we just think how unjust, how unfair, and it is. But at some point, Jesus will just, I'll take that from you. And you can just be completely whole, not even any scars left. There's none of that is there. I'll take all of that from you. And when he told that story, the atonement is real, and it was so beautiful to me.
That is beautiful. That reminds me, I was listening to Stephen Taker a few weeks ago, and he just had like 10 seconds of talking about justice and mercy and talking about the unfairness in the world. And typically I think of it that as that's the mercy, like the Lord will be merciful to those who have been treated unfairly, who have unnecessarily, for our understanding, suffered. But Stephen kind of flipped it, and it was like, no, but the Lord's justice says that they will be recompensed.
I think you got it. Recompensed.
Recompensed. They will receive something good later. Yeah, but I had never thought of justice in that way before, and it was like this beautiful, like new way of seeing that. Well, the Lord, it's not so black and white. It's eternal and it's perfect. And I only understand this tiny little amount, but it's both mercy and justice, and just relying on Him and knowing that it's all okay. To your point, because He has snaps, right?
Yeah.
And it's all okay. Yeah. But I do have let me grab a prop. A recent experience. So I'm so lucky that I live very closely with my sins. They are constant.
What that means.
They are constant companions, and what that means is I have ample opportunity to repent. And I found that I was always so inspired by the fact that many of Joseph's sweetest experiences with the Father or the Son came because of that aching heart where he desired to be forgiven for his sins. And so that's what I mean, is that I have a lot of opportunities. And let me just show you a photo. This just happened on Saturday. So 3 of my kids. Have you ever had an experience where you're like, this is a meaningful moment, and then afterwards you're reflecting, like, I should have said that. Man, I really missed it. I could have said this. That would have been better. Well, that's usually my experience. But on Saturday, I took 3 of my kids to Thanksgiving Point to the gardens. And in one of the gardens, there's this statue of the first vision. And we sat on the bench, and we've been there many, many, many times. But everything aligned, and there was no one there. And we all sat down, and I sat in the middle of them. And I had an experience where I said all the things that
You did it.
that I just like, I accomplished the thing, right? As a parent, I'm like, I did that right. And I was able to testify, to share the experience, to teach them about the first vision, and then to testify and to teach them how I gained my testimony, and to invite them to pursue their own testimony and to ask them questions. And it was like this sacred moment where, yes, the younger one a few times said, oh, butterfly, right? In the middle of my testimony. But they were there and they were present and they were hearing what I was saying. And the Spirit was just so powerful and peaceful and calming. And yeah, that experience where I knew Jesus was real, right, was because only He could provide this opportunity in this moment.
Yeah, that was good. Any last words before I'll give you guys the opportunity if you want anything else.
No, hi.
Okay.
Unless you have another question.
No, I think that's a great, before I ruin it with more dumb jokes, that's probably a great place to stop. So where do we find you, Lauren? How do people find more of you?
So I'm on social media at Blonde Apologist, and my podcast is also Blonde Apologist.
Okay. And she's great. She does a lot of good work. And Meg?
I'm on TikTok as meg.ruth, and then I'm on Instagram as megruth with 2 H's at the end.
Don't forget the second H. Now, go
Meg.ruth was stolen, so.
you just do the one after, I think.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Go check them out. They're wonderful. And thank you for joining us at The Rebellion.
Thanks for joining this episode of The Holy Rebellion. We'll see you next week.